That's great. It's a challenge every day. It's always something different. It's never the same. It's not a situation whereby you're making something in a production line.
He is not afraid, you know. He'll create what he wants and what he thinks is right. And this is beautiful, you know.
All the people here, Sandy and Perry, are real people. And the people in the shop, there's very few phonies here. And that's what I like the most.
I've done a lot of things and decided that there's got to be an easier way to make a living. I'm still trying to decide if there's an easier way to make a living.
We started Perren Gerber and Associates in a little shop in Glenview. Primarily, we describe ourselves as a custom design and display service organization. We don't have things on the shelf. Everything is custom designed, custom built here in the shop to special specifications. This will be our 9th Christmas season. We started as a 2-man shop, and we're now 20 people, 20 craftsmen.
A friend of ours who's in accounting told us if we knew any better, if we weren't so dumb, we would have known you couldn't start a business without any money. And I'm sure he's right. Now I realize that it was impossible to build a business because we didn't have the financial backing. But it's like we've weathered a lot of bad times, you know, with a customer going bankrupt and things. And again, we've been told that it just, you know, you just can't weather that kind of a loss. But again, because we didn't know any better, we did.
I think the uniqueness has to start with Perren, though he denies this. He is the one who says it's going to be quality, it's going to be first class, no corners cut, and as he puts it, it's never good enough.
It's a society today where, at best, somebody can point out a car and say, I put the fenders on 800,000 cars like that. And that's about all that there is in the identity of what they're turning out. But here we all work together. Everybody seems to enjoy it coming into work.
In some offices, you're considered just what you are, your title, and it's sometimes a derogatory type thing, depending what kind of bosses you have. You know, here, I don't feel I'm considered that way. I might be, but I don't feel that. It's like I'm one of 20 people, you know, not below, not above anybody, but one of 20. And it's something I personally appreciate.
It sounds like going to heaven, you're going to work in a Santa's workshop. But there is a lot of hard work. You've got to enjoy the work. You've got to enjoy the amount of research that goes into it, the time that's called for, the frustration of working on something and then finding the thing is wrong and just scrapping it and starting fresh. They want to be proud of what they're doing. It's not the money end. I don't think there's anybody in the shop that couldn't be working somewhere else for a great deal more money. I think it's strictly a matter of the enjoyment you get out of it. We've been in a constant state of growing pains. And at one point, the growth had gotten ahead of us. And the people were generally unhappy. We had almost too much work in the house to be able to control it. and the jobs we were doing. When we'd finish, we'd stand back and look at it, and something wasn't right. And it became very obvious to us what the problem was. We weren't enjoying what we were doing. It just was the overall unhappiness with things was beginning to show. And, you know, you couldn't pinpoint it. It just, the final thing was not a festive thing. It was not an enjoyable thing. It wasn't done with any sort of love involved. And when we corrected the problem, and people were able to get involved to the extent they wanted to, you could see the difference. I guess it has to start with us. It's a mutual respect situation. We start out with a drawing that naturally has sold the customer.
How does he come up with these ideas? I'll be perfectly frank, I don't know. I really don't. It just seems that there's always something that will spark his imagination. When it actually goes into production, sometimes we'll have original sculpture, and that is done here at the shop. The pieces are puttied and then painted to give them a very distinctive feature. One of the displays that we're doing, the figures depict famous artists such as Rembrandt, Henry Moore, and Perry is puttying the faces using pictures of these famous people so that there will definitely be a resemblance and be recognizable.
And we had a theory back 8 years ago when we started. The thing we find is that if you give people something that you're proud to show and that you have a feeling for, it'll be received in kind.
All of our mechanism is done below the figure so that if a motor does go out, and you know, motors do go out, they're only mechanisms, any maintenance man with a screwdriver can take that motor out and put another motor in. However, the art comes in the cams and the timers and the shafts, because the shaft has to be put through the figure and then down to the mechanism so that the arm moves properly. There's the hippo and the anteater, and the mechanism is synchronized so that the anteater moves his head and the hippo closes his mouth and just misses the anteater. You know, and it's really cute. He misses him every time. That's the beauty of it. The animation is, again, everything is an art.
We feel that everyone we put on improves the company, and we end up looking a lot better because we're fortunate enough to get people like Carl.
I have several functions. I do some of the mechanical work. I supervise mechanical work. I do some of the layouts of the mechanics, and primarily in the wiring and electronics.
Carl Wallstrom is considered the dean of the animators. Most of the fine animators in the business have either been trained by or worked for and improved under Carl Wallstrom one time or another. Carl has been with us for about 3 or 4 months, and the change already has been unbelievable. The enthusiasm he's generated, just the improvement generally to the quality of the things we're doing. And everybody seems happier. Both Sandy and I have worked for other people, and there have been times when our ideas or creativity has been stifled by somebody we worked for. And the two of us have vowed we're not going to allow that to happen here. There's too much thought, too much intelligence to let it go to waste. And it's very easy with people to keep telling them, no, we don't do it that way, or this would cost too much, or that would be a tremendous waste of time. You know, you hear that often enough and you say, well, why bother? And our people bother.
And the girls, this is their imagination, their creativity. They shop for their own fabrics. They use some of the colors that Perry uses. However, you'll see a great deal of, like here, Perry just has the boxes here. Well, the girls have little rolls of ribbon, but that wasn't enough. Each roll of ribbon has little brocade trim around that they've pasted on. These are the little touches that make us unique. Those are the little touches that the girls enjoy. A lot of them are not even in the original drawings.
The variety. It's always different, you know. You don't know what you're going to be doing if you're frying a lion or frosting a cake or dressing a figure, styling somebody's hair. You never know. In the costumes, the authenticity, you have to do a lot of research on that and find out what materials and colors and styles and use pictures as reference and design your costumes after that. It's just, Perry likes completed garments. They have to be totally complete, no raw edges showing. And also it helps the fabrics lay right. The dress will lay like it's laying over a slip and underwear. And if you didn't have that, it might start to cling and hang on to the girl's legs.
The one sentence we will not allow in our places, that something is good enough. There is no such thing. Something that we were very pleased with last year should be a lot better this year. Because invariably our people will finish something and say, you know, this is all right, but next time I want to try it this way. Very often we'll do a complete shopping center. We'll do a total walkthrough, and everybody's satisfied with it, except us. We'll go back, when we've rested up from installations, and we'll go back to look at it, or maybe photograph it. And we'll say, it's missing this, or it's way too crowded over here, and it's empty over here. And even though the customer doesn't ask for it, in order for us to satisfy ourselves, the minute the thing is taken down, we'll bring certain things back to our shop and redo them. Or we'll add a figure, or we'll add presents, or we'll add just the touches that we feel it needs. Mistakes are costly, but I think something is even more costly, and I think most of the people that run companies should learn that it is more costly to destroy their initiative, to destroy their caring. We all care. We care about what we're turning out. We care about our reputation. We care about making a promise and delivering. Caring is the word, really. We care for one another.
Our paint department, that is the miracle. They make plywood tables look like cherry, and pillars look like it should have seaweed growing on it. Wood that they put plaster on, and it looks like stones. And from a distance, you couldn't tell it from real quarry stone.
The reason I really wanted to work here was they appreciate what you're doing. The people in general. You're doing something that people enjoy, and you're making a product for everybody. Really, it's a lot of fun.
Tom, strangely enough, was one of the few positive reactions from publicity we've had in the past. Tom had seen an article that was written about us. And the next morning when we got to work, there was Tom sitting on the steps waiting for us. We said, hello, is there something we can do for you? And he says, all my life I've been looking for the kind of job that would incorporate all the things that seem to be in your company. And could he come to work for us? At the moment, we had no opening, but he seemed so enthused about it. And we said, sure, come ahead. And he started working for us, I think, about a week later. And Tom started in one department and then worked in another until he sort of found his spot where he was comfortable and where the people working with him were comfortable. And now he works with Sam Nakashima, who's quite a man by himself. Sam came to us when we first started the business. There were only two of us working in the shop, and we had bitten off a little bit more than we could chew. Sam came in and said, gee, I just thought I'd like to see your shop. He said, and I also had a feeling right about now you might need a little bit of help. And Sam's been with us ever since, you know, bailing us out. It's like the universal answer to almost anything is if you run into a problem is, let's ask Sam.
I've been in this for approximately 30 years. I've been working with Perren Gerber approximately 20 years. And I find that it's very rewarding to work with a man that isn't afraid. He wants to express himself through his art, and he'll say he wants to just sew, and no one steps in his way. As an example, well, this company was the first company in the United States that I know of that was the first one to exhibit a doll, a black doll. Now, we always had dolls that were Caucasian and so forth. Well, he was the first one to exhibit a black doll. And now we have centers all over the country. They want black dolls.
We had a man that worked for us for a short time last year who came upstairs and said, you know, the carpenters are building the Santa house. And, you know, you could save a lot of money if you made these wood corners straight instead of curved. And Perren's answer was, anybody can make them straight. But because they're curved and they're classy, that makes it a Perren Gerber Santa house and distinguishes it from all the others.
Being on a job, just being as a carpenter, there is no challenge. You're just told to do something, you do it for a week straight or a month. Here, nobody tells you what to do at all. They say, here's a drawing, that's it. And sometimes it takes a week, sometimes it takes a day, you know, regardless. Nothing is prefabricated. Everything that we have is shipped in by carload a lot, so to speak, raw material. And everything we have put together is made by us. We have all the equipment to make moldings or any special design things. Whether it's round or square or triangular, we make it.
One of Perry's basic concepts is that the display should be entertaining, but also educational. We are doing a Thomas Nast Christmas Village. The architecture is exactly as it was in the Victorian days. The setting inside is exactly as it was at that time. Not one little thing has been overlooked. As a matter of fact, there's an antique map in one of the houses, and if you look very closely, it says North Pole at the top, and the P is written backwards. The story goes, Joe went downstairs with it, and one of the gals in handcraft, Lorraine, says, Joe, you wrote the P backwards. He says, yes, but look at Thomas Nast's original drawing. The P is backwards. And so we do it to the nth degree. If you look at the shelves on the back, wall, in the bookcase, the books. Laureen went out and went to flea markets and sales and whatnot to get exactly 3/4 size books with titles that would be appropriate for the Victorian period.
We want the enthusiasm, we want the input that the people can put in. And quite frankly, the reason the company has grown is because of it. And again, it wasn't something that we can take the credit for a conscious effort. It was just something, this is the way I liked to work when I was working for someone else. And I felt that if our people had this opportunity, the end product would be better. And this is exactly what's happened. There's been innovations that the people have made technically that are a tremendous improvement over the way things have been done for 40 years. There's things creatively that they've done and tried, many of which we had tremendous confidence in from the beginning. Others we were sure would never work. But we felt it's more important that the people feel they can bring their thoughts and their own ideas to the place and not have to run through a gauntlet of people ready to knock the ideas down. To encourage it and to let them have their head. Sure, there's been times when they've gone sour, but most of the times they've been a tremendous asset, and we built the company on it.